earn after everything else was done? What if it was actually something your nervous system needs in order to function well? That's all I have, right? Oh, are you? You're muted. I can't hear you now.
There we go.
Oh, there you are.
Fuck. Turned off my microphone. On
Okay.
accident, I hit the off button. It's just a push. What a pain in the ass. Okay. Now we're going.
Okay.
Welcome back to Lessons of the Journey. Today, we're beginning a 3-part series on positive emotions. And I want to be clear, we're not talking about the Instagram version, not the just be grateful version, and not the kind of positivity that asks you to bypass what's hard or uncomfortable. We're talking about the real, grounded human experience of feeling good in a way that actually supports your entire life, including your nervous system, your relationships, and your ability to move through the world with a little more ease. Welcome to Positive Emotions Matter More Than You Think, and here's why. And I want to start with the simple fact that positive emotions aren't just a nice addition to life, they're foundational. When they're missing, everything feels heavier. When they're present, even briefly, life becomes more manageable. And most of us were never taught how important they really are.
Yeah. So let's discuss why positive emotions often get overlooked in our lives. Most of us learned how to survive long before we learned how to feel good. We learned how to push through, how to manage stress, how to be productive, responsible, capable, how to keep going, even when we were tired, overwhelmed, or disconnected. And somewhere along the way, positive emotions got deprioritized. Feeling calm, feeling joyful, feeling hopeful, feeling light or at ease. Those became nice if they happen rather than important if they're missing. But when positive emotions are absent, we don't just feel neutral, we feel worn down, irritable, flat, disconnected from ourselves, and sometimes from the people we care about the most. Life starts to feel heavier, not because more is wrong, but because less is nourishing us.
Ooh, so true.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I want to pause and name something important because anytime we talk about positive emotions, there's a risk of misunderstanding. So let's address the elephant in the room: toxic positivity. The term toxic positivity was first used by academic Jack Halberstam in his 2011 book, The Queer Art of Failure, where he critiqued the toxic positivity of contemporary life. This is according to Wikipedia. Since then, the phrase has been picked up and popularized in psychology and wellness. Since then, the phrase has been picked up and popularized in psychology and wellness circles, especially through the work of psychotherapist Whitney Goodman, who brought it into broader public awareness with books and social media discussions about the harms of forced optimism and emotional invalidation. Toxic positivity isn't positivity itself, it's misapplied positivity. Toxic positivity is actually the belief, spoken or unspoken, that you should only feel good emotions. You should always look on the bright side, or that uncomfortable feelings are something to fix, suppress, or move past as quickly as possible because hard emotions mean you're doing something wrong. No, toxic positivity is also the belief that gratitude should cancel out pain if you think positively enough. discomfort will disappear.
Yeah, it's so dangerous.
It is so dangerous. This is very, I know, that's like scary. It's like gratitude is wonderful, but it is not in replacement of, and we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
But psychological research shows that emotional suppression, pushing away or minimizing unwanted emotions, actually increase physiological stress and emotional reactivity over time. So toxic positivity can sound like just stay positive. It could be worse. I mean, everything happens for a reason, or at least you should be grateful.
Mm.
And while those phrases are often well-intentioned, what they really do is send a subtle message. Your pain is inconvenient. Move on. Toxic positivity doesn't actually help you feel better. It teaches you to disconnect from what you're feeling instead of understanding it.
Yes.
And when emotions are dismissed, minimized, not allowed, they don't dissolve, they go underground. And worst case, they accumulate. This is why people who practice forced positivity often experience stress, irritability or anxiety, emotional numbness, burnout, or emotional overwhelm. You can listen to our last 3 episodes for a deeper dive into how suppressing emotions can be harmful. Remorse to Release was about how to actually process emotions, and we really dove nicely into working on that. Healthy, positive emotions work very differently. They don't replace hard feelings. They exist alongside them. They don't ask you to bypass grief, anger, or exhaustion. They actually help create the emotional safety needed to move through those experiences. Positive emotions create capacity, not denial. In other words, positive emotions aren't about pretending everything is okay. They're about giving your system moments of relief and regulation so it can handle what isn't okay or what you need to process. And that distinction matters because when positivity is forced, it disconnects you from yourself. But when positive emotions are genuine and grounded, they actually increase emotional honesty, resilience, and self-trust. And once we understand that difference, we can start to see positive emotions not as pressure, but as support.
Yes. There was some really important stuff, Nicole, that you touched on. And that physiological stress is what I want to go back to, because it's like your body and your brain know that you're lying to it when you're like, it's fine, everything's fine, I should be okay, I'm judging myself right now. And your whole body is like, but it's not, but it's not.
And it creates that
Yes.
inauthenticity and that disconnection and that
Yes.
more stress than is even necessary.
Yeah. And,
Agreed.
social media is not helping.
No.
It is not helping. I'll tell you, I get people coming to me all the time thinking they're broken. But guess what? You're not broken. You're likely depleted. When it comes to positive emotions, you may sometimes feel broken, but you're not. What you are is depleted. And here is the reframe I want you to hear. If positive emotions feel hard to access, fleeting, or unfamiliar, that does not mean there's something wrong with you. More often, it means you've been living in a state of emotional output without emotional replenishment. It means you've been operating in survival mode for too long. When your days are filled with managing responsibilities, supporting others, meeting expectations, solving problems, carrying stress, when your system is focused on stress, productivity, pushing through exhaustion, your system doesn't get much opportunity to settle, soften, or open. There isn't much space left to feel good, even when good things are happening. That's why people say things like, oh, I should feel happy, but I don't. Or everything's fine, but I feel off. Or I just don't feel connected to myself anymore. Those are not failures. They are feedback. They're signs that your emotional system has been focused on coping, not receiving.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I feel like it is so timely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's timely for me personally, but I also feel like it's very timely for the world.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They do those studies of the happiest countries, and here we are in a first world country. We lack happiness. Why?
Yes.
Right? There's this
Yeah.
why. And I feel like the toxic positivity is so much a part of our world, and we don't even realize that that's what it is. So the clarity here, I'm loving it. I'm loving
Yeah.
this clarity.
It's good stuff. It's important stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and for me personally, I've said all those things to myself. Why am I not happier?
all
I
of
have a great
us.
life. Why am I not happier? And it's like,
Yes.
oh, okay. Teach me. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Now let's talk about what positive emotions actually do, because they aren't just pleasant experiences. They're actually regulating experiences. Positive emotions help reduce chronic stress, which means your body doesn't have to stay in survival mode all the time. They help regulate your nervous system so you feel safer in your body and less reactive to everyday stress. Oh my gosh, that one's hitting so that was a punch in the gut. They improve clarity in decision making, which makes it easier to trust yourself and respond instead of react. Positive emotions increase clarity in creativity, so new ideas and solutions become available instead of feeling stuck. They improve emotional resilience, which helps you recover more quickly when life feels heavy or challenging. They reduce burnout and emotional overload, so you have more energy for the things and people that actually matter. Positive emotions strengthen connection and empathy, which helps you feel understood and more emotionally available to others, thereby strengthening relationships. Because when you feel more regulated and supported inside, connection flows more naturally outside. Positive emotions help your body and mind shift out of constant alertness and into rest, connection, and presence. And here's the important part. They don't have to be big or dramatic to matter. A moment of calm counts, and they add up. A brief sense of appreciation counts. A small feeling of relief or warmth counts. A genuine laugh. These moments gently remind your system that life isn't only about effort and endurance. It's also about restoration. They tell your nervous system, you're safe enough to pause. You don't have to be on high alert right now. You can breathe a little deeper.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay, Nicole. So why this series and why now? Why are we doing this now? With Valentine's Day approaching, there's a lot of focus on love, connection, and relationships, often framed as something that comes from other people. But before connection with anyone else, before relationships, before love, before celebration, there's a quieter, more foundational relationship at play. Your relationship with your own emotional world. When positive emotions are missing internally, no amount of external connection can fully fill that gap. And when positive emotions are present, even in those small ways, relationships tend to feel more balanced, more grounded, and more authentic. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending things are okay when they're not. Let me say that again. This series isn't about toxic positivity or pretending things are okay when they are not. This series isn't about chasing happiness. It's about understanding positive emotions as essential emotional nutrients, not luxuries. It's about creating emotional conditions that make life feel more sustainable.
I love this. I'm so excited to be diving into this. I've already learned things. And this has been like 15 minutes, and I'm like,
how many times in my life have I even sat through a positive emotion and went, I don't deserve to feel this because XYZ, because the dishes aren't done, because the room is a mess, because I didn't get my 3 chores done today, because like for any other reason, I don't deserve to feel this gentle love right now, or that genuine laugh that my kids just made. I don't deserve it, right? So I push it away. How many times have we done that?
Too many. I've done the same thing. I don't deserve it. And I'm actually in a different space in my life because versus the feeling of don't deserve it, I actually have kind of, and I know we've had a conversation about this offline, you and I feel like I've kind of lost my ability to feel the joy.
Mm.
And I really am starting to realize at what level I have a dysregulated nervous system. And I'm starting to, like, when you say positive emotions regulate your nervous system, my nervous system is everything. And I'm realizing the power of it through our conversations. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy we're having these conversations and I've had previous conversations because I am learning so much about what serves and doesn't serve my nervous system.
That's a wonderful thing to know about yourself. I mean, imagine if we would have learned this much earlier in life.
Like in school that we even had a nervous system.
This is what happened. You know, I actually found myself saying that to the kids. I'm feeling dysregulated. I need to calm down. And they're like, dysregulated. What does that mean? Right. And we had to have an entire conversation about what that means. And I did not intend it to be a life lesson for these kids. I intended it to be like the get out of my face. I need a minute. I am dysregulated. And then, of course, what's dysregulated?
But you're a great mom. So you took the time and energy to explain it.
Gosh.
I love that.
So necessary.
Hey, you know what? That's the conversations about the tough part, which, you know, our past 3 episodes were about that, how to deal with the tough emotions. And when you feel dysregulated, honestly, until we started studying this about positive emotions, I just thought they were, they're fun. I really believed that.
You know,
didn't know any different.
I didn't know any different either. I was using them because I kind of had a grasp on the fake it till you make it. Right? Which is in the very beginning of this conversation, you were talking about the physiological distress. And I remember feeling that so often because I would feel like shit, but my brain would be like, no, remember, be positive, say the right things, say the positive things. And my body would be like glitching, right? Because it was like, I hear that you're trying to get there, but that's not actually where we are. And there still is the science behind the fake it till you make it. But what we're recognizing through this conversation is that both and is there and both and is okay. And to recognize each is very important and to honor.
And I love that we're going to dive into that next week. This is beautiful. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I never realized the power that positive emotions have. My takeaway is just simply that positive emotions help regulate your nervous system. I had no idea.
I had no idea too. That is also my takeaway. I love that it's like, you know, I had bits and pieces of knowledge that this really kind of feels like the glue for me in what I was just saying I knew this and I knew this, but I didn't know how it worked together. And this is how it works together.
I agree with you 100%. And I don't even know. I think I've heard the term toxic positivity, but actually understanding it, because now I've gotten so much clearer when I hear it all the time. I have friends who are going through very difficult things. And you know, there's a conversation about we're keeping things positive. And I always say to them, you can also feel crappy about it and have your moment and cry and scream and be upset. You're allowed to have those emotions. You want to work through them. Otherwise you're, like we talked about in the last couple episodes, suppressing them and they're still there.
Yeah, it's not good to suppress. We very clearly in our humanity don't like to feel uncomfortable things. No. But in our last couple of episodes, we talked about why it is important to allow the space for those things to process and really how it breaks down to just a couple of minutes in regard to what our bodies and our brains need to go through in order to get that processed. So when we continue to go, oh, I don't like that feeling, shove it down. You said this in our conversation today. It makes them feel inconvenient. And so it's so important to bring those emotions, positive and or negative, forward, let them process, give them the space, and then allow them to be. And we're just talking about acknowledging. If you had a sucky day, be like, I had a sucky day. Life isn't sucky. I just had a sucky day. It's going to be different today. I'm going to call up a friend. We're going to laugh. It's okay. We can
Yeah.
have all of these things. And not just that we can, we will. It's inevitable
Yep.
because we are human living a human experience. And so I love what we're talking about here because it allows the space for all of it. And it
Mhm.
makes the entire emotional experience of being human just exactly that. A wonderful thing that we get. Because what's the alternative, right? You're dead. So
Well,
there you go.
and living a deeper, richer life. That's what it's about. And I feel like this is such a way to live a deeper, richer life. And I agree with you. The understanding bits and pieces and then suddenly having it all come together. And I love the clarity. So,
Yeah.
you know me. Okay, so we're going to move into our questions, and I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
even
you
though
go
I
first.
never go first.
Nicole gets to go first. Jen
So-
will share more this year.
We'll see. We'll see about that. So we all know my favorite quote, but I want to know what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is such a great question for me. I have too many. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. When I was in high school, I started a quote book for all of my favorite quotes, and not just all of my favorite quotes. If I had a dear friend that I really admired, I would be interested in theirs. So they would then write their favorite quotes in my quote book. And I'd lost this quote book for a number of years, found it over the last couple of years, and there was so much space left in it. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm restarting my quote book. You know, do I have a favorite? I can't because there's so much knowledge.
What is your favorite right now?
Oh gosh.
In this
okay.
moment.
In this moment, what you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say.
That's such a good one. I love that
Yes.
one.
Could I tell you who said it? No. Take to Google.
Don't
It'll give you
remember.
17 options of who
Yeah.
actually said it. But you know, that has been something that I have attempted to live my life by, because lip service is just so easy to give. And it really truly is. How does somebody show up, not just for me, but in their own lives? Like, what can I
Yeah.
count on them for? And I love consistency. Now, here's the, I used to work with like really intense people that a number of folks in the industry just could not handle. They were like, and I go, you know what? You know why I love this person? Because they are consistent. I know what I'm going to get from, whether it's intense or nasty or whatever. I just always know what I'm going to get from those people. And so I love that. That's really a calming thing for me. Again, I have to adjust what's happening in front of me, right? But if I know what I'm going to get from you and you're consistent in that, then, oh, you're some of my favorite people. So yeah, actions speak louder than words, essentially.
Love that.
It's
Yeah.
a fancy way of saying that one.
Well, and how they show up to others. I mean, don't you watch people when they're showing up in other environments? Because you know how
Oh,
people treat
yes.
others is how they're going to treat you, right? And yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yes.
I had to
Okay.
go first because I was thinking about mine. So
Oh, well, now I want to know yours.
well, clarity is power.
Well, really? That's your favorite?
That's my favorite
That's
quote.
it. All right.
Absolutely. And the reason is because every other quote is just clarity.
Think
Think about it. I mean, every other quote is just clarity. My husband's cousin's wife, who I adore, she says clarity is kindness, and she's an animal trainer, and she teaches her people, and she trains people how to train their animals. And she's like, clarity is kindness. If you are clear with that animal, that is what's kind. If you are not clear, it's not kind. And I'm like, oh, I love that. I agree with that
Yeah.
too. So clarity is both clear and kind. I mean, clarity is both powerful and kind.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a broader sense. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Love it.
Here's my question.
Okay.
This is not meant to be morbid. When
Oh,
you die.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. It's not meant to be morbid, but I'm going to start with when you die. Okay. Yes.
Well, it's inevitable, right?
I know,
So
yes.
my dad is 76 years old and my 4-year-old is like, Grandpa's going to die, right? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
You're like, that is
One
not a
day.
conversation I'm ready to have.
Like one day. Yes.
Yeah.
We all, okay. What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for passing great knowledge onto future generations, and specifically my grandchildren. I have 2 female grandchildren, and I want to pass on a lot of the knowledge to them that I didn't learn. And not because I didn't have people who wanted to teach me, but because we didn't know any different or they didn't know any better. So that's really what I want to be known for.
I love that. That's a
Yeah.
great answer.
Thanks.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Whew. All right. As we finish this episode, I would like to offer a gentle reflection. This is not homework, it's not something to fix, it's something to think about. Just this question: when was the last time you felt even a brief moment of calm, ease, or genuine enjoyment? No judgment if it's been a while, no pressure to recreate it, no fixing, we're just noticing. Because awareness is where emotional change actually begins, and it's the first step toward emotional reconnection.
Love that. So, in the next episode, next week, we're going to talk about how positive emotions actually get built without toxic positivity, without forcing gratitude, and without adding another thing to your to do list. They get built through small, intentional shifts that work with your nervous system, not against it. Because feeling good isn't accidental and it's not reserved for people who have it all figured out. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's something we can learn to create gently and intentionally. Thanks for joining us for a lesson in understanding why positive emotions matter more than you think. Join us next week on Lessons of the Journey, and we'll continue the conversation in our episode on how to feel more positive emotions without toxic positivity. Bye, everyone.